Are we live? And we're live!
The studio audience isn't responding. I held up the applause sign and they didn't do anything.
Man, you know, that's it.
Fire.
Drop the temperature in the studio. We got to make sure that they are going to be awake and responding because our show is magic, man. Magic, absolute
I know,
magic.
Totally.
Everything that happens in the show is completely scripted, planned, and something. By the way, I wanted to have a shout out for Jason Reese, who I just saw the message today. I was away when you left it, but he did watch our live stream, one of our live streams last month, a couple of weeks ago. So shout out to him because I know he's a busy guy. And he's a far more prolific blogger than I am, and cool. He's awesome. So,
right on.
How's it going, guys? I haven't seen. Well, I've seen Alan actually. We made fun of you constantly, Dave. But Dave, I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going?
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Cock knockers.
Sorry, what was that, Dave? I was busy combing my beard.
Again.
Look at that. Look at that, Dave. Look at how many
got a beard for Christmas.
I did. I picked it up. It's pretty. Look at how smooth and silky these strands are. And look at this.
Looks kind of spotty.
Sign of experience. This is signs of experience and age or something. Sorry, Dave. I interrupted you because I got talking about my beard. Hi, how's it going?
Happy New Year.
It's time for Rogaine, I think.
So Dave, what did you do for the holidays? I went back to Saskatchewan and froze everything off in extremely cold weather. Alan, you actually had a very similar experience here over the holidays in Victoria.
It was like so cold. It's been so cold the past few days.
Yeah,
it's same here. It's unreal. But yeah. Dave, did you have any? I mean, you live basically on another planet. On the other side of the solar system. So tell us about your experience so far. Was your Christmas good? Did they let you go home?
They did let me go home briefly. Cool. I was wearing an ankle bracelet the whole time, but they did let me go.
Who's they?
I can't tell you. Sorry.
Oh,
his employer. But I will tell you, I did actually visit your employer and had them do some stuff in their photo lab for their stuff, so I'd use them.
Yeah, they do indeed, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was there supporting you at a Victoria-based branch of said large chain in multinational country store. But that's okay, because I got to comb my beard now.
Oh, God.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
You need some hair? I could probably spare some. No. Right.
No.
Just for that, I'm gonna grow mine.
I actually have to say this started as you guys know, as my trimmer broke. Doesn't hold a charge for really all that long all of a sudden. So I just kind of thought, it is the holidays. I'll just let this happen. And now I'm actually almost at the same point after I busted my foot of how long I've actually let it grow. So I'm thinking I'll give it another few weeks and see if I still love it as much as I do right now. But I have to say, posting photographs on my Twitter account has garnered me some additional followers, specifically those who make different facial hair products. So...
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, actually, my big Alan has actually provided some stories for this for us to discuss this week. We have a couple things we want to cover, but the first thing we should talk. First. Well, this is what I'm saying. But before we get into those, I was going for the segue, man. Before we get into those, we had a very interesting discussion about the beer that was chosen this week, which is Driftwood's Old Cellar Dweller. Alan, what happened with that? And Dave, so I want you to rebut the way you did before.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have made an executive decision for this episode. It was my choice. I had decided that I wanted to pick up barley wine. For those of you that have been following, you might know that Shane and I did the Seasons Greetings advent calendar from Parallel 49 and Central City Brewing. Inside of there was a barley wine called Thors Hammer, and it was incredible. It was incredible when we had it last year as well, meaning 2019. So we decided that we wanted to do a barley wine for this episode. And I had chosen Old Cellar Dweller by Driftwood Brewery. Okay, there's a label there. It looks fantastic. And look how it's presented. It's got wax over top of the cap. And so we were prepared to have this. And then we were told, and we kind of knew this at the outset, but we didn't really realize exactly how much this means. But sit and age for like a year before you drink it. So we debated.
I'm just going to interrupt just for a second. This is actually the noise I was making a moment ago. I actually went to get this because I still have the bottle. This is the Thors Hammer barley wine, and I wanted to actually read this to you very quickly. This is a limited edition, and it is matured for 1 full year before it is bottled.
Oh.
So, but they do say on it, you can enjoy it lightly chilled right now, or cellar it for 5 years or more. So this compared to this, this has been sitting and doing its magic for a year, where this is made and then bottled. So which is why when I was the dude at the store was like, don't drink this now, you're insane if you do. Let it sit for at least a year before you enjoy it. So there you go. I just wanted to point that out because I wanted to see if they actually had written on the bottle of Thors Hammer whether or not they actually had a similar warning or whatever.
Right. Sorry. So we've decided to make this, and Dave doesn't agree, but we've decided to make this part 1 of a 2-episode beer. This is part 1 where we're just showing you the bottle. Part 2 will come in about a year when we're actually going to open it and drink it. Get one of these. You better do it quickly because this is a limited release. And like us, we recommend that you stick it on a shelf and hold it for minimum a year. I think we're going to hold on to it for the minimum amount of time. And we will try it in a year, and we'll see what it's like. Now, having said that, we may see if we can find another barley wine that has aged for next week. We'll see what we can find there. Dave, to your rebuttal.
To my rebuttal. Well, in a nutshell, I told both these guys that they were pussies. And needed to grab a pair.
I think Dave just has a problem cellaring a beer for a year. Like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I can't put it in my fridge for a year. Where am I going to put it?
Dave could just let it sit on his bed because there's no action there anyway. I am funny. Watch me go crazy.
Now, one thing I do have to note, Shane, can you show up your top of your bottle?
On the
Old Cellar Dweller, and Dave, maybe you can hold up yours as well.
Okay, you'll have to give me a minute.
Mine is all waxed.
All right. Yeah, so you kind of got gypped on the wax. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I've got a mighty wax
when they do wax
them
though, they only do wax just the tip. So it kind of because when they wax them, right, they do it down the shaft, they dip it and then they turn it over. I kind of got gypped on the whole wax part, but it's still doing the job. It's still sealing what's going on up there. So, but yeah, yours is actually kind of an incredible wax.
So that is mine.
And it's weird. The wax is separating from the glass. Yeah, you've got a good wax job on yours too.
I got gypped on the wax. What the hell? What the hell, man? The
I
hell
got wax
drift
all over mine, and
God.
you, Shane, have got like a Brazilian.
That's right. That's how clean I am. Oh wait. Oh yeah. There we go.
So
that's
what
the
are we
spot right
drinking
there.
instead? While we cellar our old cellar dweller.
Dave said he has something. I'm kind of interested in what Dave has chosen. Pardon me, Dave. While I oh yeah.
Well, this is what I
don't
chosen.
know if Dave is drinking a. Is it a Grolsch?
What is the what? Oh my lord!
Grolsch.
A Rattler. Show us the label, Dave.
Yes.
Speak words.
It is indeed a Rattler. It's
And what?
lemon. Looks like a lemon.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Well, I mean, what the fuck? Looks lemony.
It looks lemony.
It tastes lemony. It tastes
Okay.
yummy, actually. I really like this. It is non-alcoholic, actually. So it's a 0%.
Oh, really?
Many of the Rattlers in Europe are nothing or about 2.5%. Because this is what they drink instead of water over there.
Okay.
So it's basically like pop.
Yep. Especially the Dutch stuff. Because I've tried some German now. And Locke would probably be able to fill us in entirely on this whole thing.
Of course.
I know he's done Rattlers, but the impression I get is that the German stuff is more beery, actually. And as Alan said, this particular is a little more like pop, actually. It's extremely easy drinking.
Well, they usually are.
Yes.
Station.
And what are you drinking, Shane?
I am drinking Solstice DM from Quebec. It is a brewery I've never heard of. It is, what are they called? Momentum Dieu de Ciel. A sweet and boozy brown winter ale offers complex fruit aromas accompanied by hints of caramel and a hoppy finish. This one is also a barley wine, much like the Thors Hammer and the other one, whose name I can't remember right now, because I'm not going to look at it for at least a couple of months. Anyway, this one here
Old cellar
is
dweller.
the cellar dweller. Thank you. This is actually has aging potential, as they call it, but it has already been aged for a year, so similar to Thors Hammer. So I am going to enjoy this one today because I want to know, because I have never seen this brewery before and I am kind of curious about it. So I am going to take out my Christmas dick and I'm going to open mine.
Actually, it's just a regular dick now.
That's true. It's a winter dick now. Alan, are you sad that we're not drinking beer every single day?
Yes, I kind of am, actually.
I was talking about that with my liver the other day. Hey, look, the cash register is in operation though.
Yeah. Let's see if the studio audience still isn't in.
Damn those guys. So check that out. This barley wine is actually very very dark. It kind of is. I swear it looks like Coca-Cola in a glass. But a bit darker, but it has the same sort of brown color. And it smells really good.
How is it compared to the Thors Hammer?
It's not as potent as the Thors Hammer. It is Thors Hammer. The flavor was more, I think I seem to recall that it was more of a real good sort of gut punch to your mouth because it really hammered its way in. Wow, that joke fell flat.
Wow.
Hammered its way.
Mayday,
But anyway, so
mayday.
May, we're going down. But yeah, but it was also unique. There was something about it. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. But there was a unique flavor to it that was unusual, at least in my memory. We could, of course, go watch the other video where we do talk about it, but it's been like a week and a half or so, almost 2 weeks, and it is... I've lost it, but the memories I do have, it's very positive and in great detail, but at least in my mind. But this, I mean, it's okay. It is definitely, it's good, but it has right now. I'm really experiencing kind of an after flavor that I'm not enjoying. You know when you chew gum, you like gum, Trident or whatever. And you say do it for like an hour, like you don't have a place to put it, throw it out. So you keep chewing it. That flavor, the flavorless kind of thing that builds up in the back of your mouth. That's kind of what I'm experiencing right now.
Flavor.
It's like I was chewing this beer for an hour, and now it just won't go away. But
kinda
again,
like stale gum.
Exactly. So it tastes good on the top end, though. Dave, what about you?
Oh, this just tastes good.
All right,
Period.
good. Moving on to Alan. Alan,
I like this stuff.
So I'm drinking, and this is courtesy of Shane, who visited my place on New Year's Eve and left behind a whole lot of beer. I'm drinking from Parallel 49 Wobbly Pop.
Wobbly Pop,
which is a pale.
Yes, on New Year's Eve, I was over at Alan's place, and we both bought the same mixer beer of Parallel 49. And there was no way I could bring it back to Vancouver because I was a walk-on passenger. So I just left it. So enjoy the Wobbly Pop.
I am. It's very good. You know what? This is probably one of the best pale ales that I've had in recent memory. I don't drink a lot of pale ales. This is a good one. I don't know if it's as good as Blue Buck.
No, I don't think so. Blue Buck it's a pale, but it still has a light lager-esque flavor feeling to it. Because Trump is going to be sworn in a couple of weeks. I have to say that my desire to really give you facts about beer is waning. I just want to tell you how it makes me feel, because my feelings are fact in my world. So therefore, if I say that I feel that it's more like a lager, the Blue Buck I'm referring to, and the Wobbly Pop is more like a pale ale, it doesn't matter if they are the same type of beer, because I feel like the other one's different and more like a lager. So therefore, my truthiness becomes truth. Oh my God.
All right, so the next on the docket, after I've finished the Wobbly Pop, I'm going to be having from Parallel 49 their craft lager. And we'll try that.
I actually had one of those. I think I had that one while I was there, I think.
Oh, did you? And what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It really kept me, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed to make it all the way to midnight.
Right.
Jesus.
Oh, Shane.
Life can be improved by using googly eyes. So,
it's true.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the stories you have? Because there's one that I want to talk about because it makes me mad.
Okay, well, you go.
All right. First of all, when you make beer, there are some very strict rules that you need to follow. First rule of beer making: make beer. Don't make milkshakes. Don't try and make a grilled cheese sandwich in a beer. Although that would be kind of awesome. But no, I'm sticking to my guns here. You are not going to sit around brewing in your little, chemistry set in your back room and you're not going to torture the beer, because if you could waterboard beer, sometimes I feel that some of these beers being made today are being waterboarded by brewery types out there. You go to like Red Truck, or you go to Strange Fellows, you go to Brass Neck up the way here, or Main Street, or 33 Acres, or Bomber, or I'm trying to think of all the other breweries in this area. But they make good beer. They play with the recipe. They're experts now, and they play with it slightly here and there. They don't grab it and hold it under the water and punch it in the back of its head while it's busy there fermenting. So according to the CBC article here, Dave, you had time to check it out?
Nope. I will do that right now.
So here you go. There's this apparently Steamworks is experimenting with an IPA. Now I'm trying what they actually have a name for it? Is it the Steamworks flagship IPA?
No. You're getting things confused here. So
okay,
somebody
at
CBC.
Clarify.
Okay, so somebody at CBC. What's the name of the person here? Where is it? Rebecca Wyman believes that a possible trend in beer for 2017 is milkshake IPAs, which are hoppy beers with lactose sugar added to make them thick, milky, and sweet.
That's right here, yes. Which is an outrage. I live in a time where we're in an age of outrage. Therefore, I have to be angry at the abuse of beer, because adding such
an abuse of beer, like, what about milk stouts? Do you have a problem with milk stouts?
Why do you ask?
Well, I mean, do you have a problem with lactose being added to an IPA, but you don't have a problem with lactose being added to a stout?
Maybe.
Maybe we should let the bastardization happen. Let them make this Franken beer, and decide for ourselves whether it's good or not.
No, let's just firebomb it.
Franken beer.
Knock, knock.
Hey. If we're going to make a beer, that's what we should call it. We should call it Franken beer.
Franken beer, because our beer is gonna smell and taste like beans and hot dogs.
Oh, that would be so good.
If the milk stouts are going so incredibly crazy with the lactose, and they're making some other beers that are going to be like milkshakes, and you know what?
Hey.
We may as well go the other way. Let's make beer that tastes and smells like Franken beans and makes you fart like a monster.
Hey,
no, if we're going that way, we got to do your grilled cheese.
One of the best
beers, blue cheese. It's got to be blue cheese and bacon.
One of the best beers that we had last year, let's not forget, is the peanut butter beer from Dead Frog. I mean, and that's kind of out there, right? And that was a really good beer.
I almost bought the peanut butter beer and bring it to your party, but my father poo-pooed the idea. It's like, what? That's a beer, and I felt so guilty that I liked it. Okay, I'll just put it down. Oh, look, there's a mixer from Parallel 49. I'll just bring that. I really kind of wanted it.
Oh man, you should have totally brought it.
I know. I just felt so bad that my dad was so offended that I had even considered drinking that beer, which means that he doesn't watch this show ever. So there you go.
So we could say all kinds of things about him then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the hell, man? Like, whatever. So moving on to another beer story here from the blog Vancouver Coffee Snob. Which, by the way, I love the idea, but he's also telling people to like beer, but also giving you an idea of beers that you should avoid. Now, I'm looking at this list. It is a Three Bears Breakfast Stout from Trading Post Brewing Company, Brassneck's Magic Beans Coffee Ale, Steamworks White Stout, which I've had, Fuggles and Warlock Bean Me Up. Don't you mess with Fuggles and Warlock. Also, Rogue's Cold Brew IPA, Hoynes High Voltage, Bridge Uganda, which is actually the one I don't actually know if I've ever seen it anywhere on the shelves. There's also Granville Island Small Batch of Mocha, which I haven't had, Steel and Oak, the Cafe Coffee Blonde, which I think I've had before somewhere. And a couple other beers, a couple of them I think that we've actually had on the show, maybe.
Yes.
The Excitation from Category 12. So here's the
Which
thing.
we also had on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So
this is interesting. They chose all these coffee beers from around local ones, and they rated them. So it's the Coffee Snob, Mrs. Coffee Snob, and I guess he had some friends who he called sexy scientists. And they rate all of these beers. And the winner, without a doubt, was the Bean Me Up Espresso Stout from Fuggles and Warlock, which I thought was pretty cool. It was hands down, no competition, the best coffee-based beer, which I thought was kind of cool.
I agree. I think that is,
because that was the very
exactly
first beer that we did on this podcast, on our very first show.
Really?
It was. What I did find surprising, though, was how low they rated the Excitation from Category 12. They rated it, the Vancouver Coffee Snob gave it 4 out of 10, and the Sexy Scientist gave it 6 out of 10. He said he found it boring to drink. I didn't find that at all. I thought it was actually a really good beer. Great flavor, a little bit interesting. The other thing that was interesting to note was by Bridge Brewing, the Uganda Sippy Coffee, which I've actually had before. I wasn't, we didn't do it on this show, but I have had it myself. And I remember that I wasn't too impressed with it. And maybe I didn't realize at the time that apparently there's pouring instructions on the bottle. You're supposed to swirl it around to mix up the sediment into the beer. Creates a little bit more flavors to it. And obviously, I didn't do that. So
RTFM, dude, RTFM.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get that one and try it again, I think.
You make me so proud of you.
Yeah.
Dave spouting off RTFM. I agree. I think that's definitely something that that we need to fully support. Sorry,
that is something that we fully support.
I got so distracted as somebody just followed me that I'm like, really? Somebody who's got like a zillion followers because they're an entertainer of some sort just followed me, and I'm like, little old me, really? Wow, I'm kind of sorry.
You know who followed me?
Who?
George Larac, who was like a fighter in the NHL, follows me. I have no idea why.
That's kind of weird, but kind of cool.
Like, he's a former NHL player, and he played for the Edmonton Oilers and the Montreal Canadiens. And just out of the blue, one day, just starts following me, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
I don't do anything. I'm a loser. Don't follow me. I don't know. I actually, it's kind of, I don't know. This is something I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to, but I have been collecting followers that I'm kind of, impressed. I've allowed it to stroke my ego just a little, which I think is not a terrible thing. If I become a complete stats addicted individual and I sit there and watch how many people are going to follow me today, then just yeah. So I'm going to move on here to our next story, which is something that I actually read about a little while ago. Because again, the article I read about like a month ago or so was referring to the Peanut Gallery. Hey, Peanut Gallery. Try the beer. Beer. This one here.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
Well, it's the Thors Hammer. I took it out of the recycling because we were talking about
not
it. Not bad. So anyway, scientists search for aliens in galaxies sending weird radio signals. Now, I did read about this a little while ago because if you are a nerd, are we all nerds here?
Yeah,
that we all
look. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. Okay, I have to.
Wait. I'm wearing my Star Trek.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, my Star Trek supporting Sulu. So anyway, many years ago, which probably still exists, but I haven't, of course, used it for some time. There was
many years ago doesn't exist
anymore. Screensaver.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it here. Screensaver.
The SETI screensaver.
Yeah, let's see if it's still around because I think SETI at Home. That's what it was called. Is it still around? Apparently, it is. So essentially, what it is there was this screensaver you could buy, or you could download and install on your computer. That every time your computer went idle and your screensaver was activated, you would have the ability to tell instead of your screensaver popping up, it would launch this application, which would then go to the SETI at Home people, download some information, and then run some calculations on it. And then when it was done, it would upload those to to their side. But essentially, you've got all of these things where you had the ability to basically discover alien life, because what they were downloading is SETI, of course, has got these radio dishes and things that are pointed around, listening for basically signals that hopefully are similar to ours. Because I think I remember thinking a number of years ago that, oh my God, we've been sending out signals in radio for so long now. My God, we must be, halfway across the galaxy by now. People are hearing what we're saying. And then I actually looked it up and said, what is the extent of radio signals that the Earth has sent off from our solar system, and how far has it gone? And yeah, it's like barely. It's like, yeah, well, we've only really said much, no one's heard us yet. So, of course, SETI is out there going, well, there are probably civilizations out there that are much older than ours, and maybe they've been setting out their own radio for a long time. So, basically listening for that. And anyway, so this article talks about how a little while ago they have found these things called fast radio bursts, where essentially it's like radio that's got a certain pattern to it that is, I think, in that it was repeating. It was, if they found it to be repeating slightly 9 bursts, some of them very bright. So essentially, there's this hope that this is another civilization far, far away from us that has been sending out this information. Which, as a nerd, and Alan, show your shirt again. So, I got my Star Trek, Star Wars. Dave, what are you wearing? Dave, I noticed you on the catwalk. What are you wearing today? Can you tell us what you're wearing?
My man in Amsterdam.
Royale with cheese. So we've got the our interests obviously are very nerdy, and we're to me this is very exciting that this is potentially something that, I mean, chances of it being a civilization are pretty remote, but
it's very remote.
No pun intended.
End broadcast.
We have a sound effect. There we go.
So it does make me slightly excited while I'm sitting here drinking some delicious beer. That maybe, just maybe, that we've heard something, and most likely, again, yes, it's probably not, but just maybe that much. So what do you guys think will happen to civilization if we, if we could find a signal out there that we're like, oh, hey, we've found the signal, and look, it looks like a sitcom, but with tentacle people. What do you think? What do you think would happen?
Our brains would explode.
I think it would be mass hysteria.
Cats and dogs living together.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I know, because it's a very real concern, I think, for a lot of people out there, that if we ever
I don't think we as a society are ready for it.
No.
In fact, I think it's probably more likely who know that we exist, who are monitoring us and waiting to see whether or not we blow ourselves up, be attacked with us.
Yeah.
Kind of like, the Vulcans and everything in Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think that's more likely. And that's really way out there, right? But I think that's more likely than this is another civilization out there, mainly because of the distance involved. These radio signals would have taken 3 billion years. So receiving these signals now, and that's great, but they would have left the source 3 billion years ago.
Right.
Does that society even still exist? Have they been obliterated by a comet or something? Well, most likely.
Because Dave, I'm interested in what you think, because you were the individual in my social world that has the most experience reading about and researching Eastern philosophies and things. Is there a thing from your sort of study that that's even touches on, up there?
No.
No,
There's just zilch, unfortunately.
So basically, you're thinking that Eastern philosophies have no attitude as to what's going on out there because they're more about inward stuff? Is that kind of...
Well,
I'm assuming.
okay,
I'm making a wild jump here. I have no idea.
No. I guess that's not quite true, because if I remember right and I understand right, you can kind of extrapolate reincarnation and living in different forms and all that, and say that there are other life forms out there on other planets, and they're just another expression of creation, if you will.
Okay.
So
that's actually a really good segue into the story that I wanted to sort of bring up today. Is Alan and I, when we were hanging out over the holidays, a little bit before the holidays and also on New Year's, we did touch on what might be happening very briefly, what was happening with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3, or whatever the title might be. And I did finally, just yesterday, I thought, it popped into my mind that we talked about it. I thought, I haven't actually heard any news about this, because I've seen Alex Winter out there doing he's really directing a lot of sort of documentaries. Did one about sort of privacy and about the Silk Road and things like that on the internet.
Yeah.
And then he did one that just came out free on YouTube the other day, called, well, of course I can't remember what it's called now. Darn it, Alex Winter. But essentially it's sort of an addition into that sort of realm of privacy and things like that. So, but it was made for the internet specifically to be released that way. So I just happened to stumble across it on YouTube. But the thing that happened in here is that, and this is sort of the latest that Wikipedia can tell us anyway, is that filming for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3 is supposed to begin as early as already, but more likely going to be somewhat this year. Speaking of life and science fiction and all kinds of things that you and I and everyone here talk about it quite a bit. But the other thing is I actually saw a tweet from somebody who apparently is friends with Keanu, that said that Keanu had mentioned that they were almost ready to start filming. So whether that's true or not, who knows? But that's sort of what sparked me to go, oh, wait a minute, I wonder what the real story is. So here's the other thing. This is the other weird segue into science fiction, was that when I was looking this up, I found two things. The first thing to me is very exciting because I'm totally jazzed by this. But the composer David Newman, who is I'm a huge fan of, because I've got a bunch of his different soundtracks because I'm a soundtrack nerd. And but the thing is, he actually I had no idea this. This is one of those things that kind of escaped my notice. He did sort of music for both Bill and Ted's movies. And if you don't know who David Newman is, then you have not watched Serenity. You bad people. If you have not watched Serenity, go watch the series Firefly and watch Serenity. But the music from Serenity was by the same composer, which really excited me. And then I found this little gem on the internet called Bill and Ted's Excellent Musical Adventure. I had no idea, but apparently in 1992, somebody sat down and adapted Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure into a stage musical. And I want to just read off a couple of these titles here. Anthem, Son of a Gun, the theme to Billy the Kid. There's some stuff which I actually listened to a couple of these tracks already, and they're not very good. But People Want to Party, I'm the King, Future Dudes. There's just all these things that I could actually sit down and I would watch this once, because here's the thing. I found out probably about 3 or 4 years ago that, do you guys remember watching The Last Starfighter?
Yep.
The Last Starfighter was also adapted into a musical for off Broadway, which I did listen to some of that music, which again is pretty horrible. But the fact that somebody sat down and decided to make these pop culture things from the 80s and into stage shows is kind of awesome. They're breaking all kinds of copyright laws, I'm sure. But give it enough time, you can actually make something like this kind of rock. And I think of like Evil Dead the musical, which I was involved with a couple of years ago here in Vancouver. There's also, of course, adaptations of big films that are being taken to the stage. The most recent one, of course, that I wasn't involved, or that I was superficially involved with, was Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead live, where all the actors are painted as though they're in black and white. So, it's a very cool effect, especially when you're right there and you see these individuals. The stage is all black and white, and it's supposed to sort of imitate the original Night of the Living Dead from 1967 or something. But anyway, so this is just me just kind of nerding out, because I kind of fell down the rabbit hole essentially and was like, really? Wow. What? Why?
So to go a little further down your rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Are you liking this uptick in the musical thingy that's happening?
What do you mean? Uptick in musicals?
Well, because La La Land just got released. Apparently people are digging it, although some critics are saying it's just garbage. But
I
apparently it's starting to become more of a thing, right? We're seeing more of like, okay, so there's also the animated thing. You just saw the poster. Well, I've seen trailer bits, I guess, for it too. But what's it called? Sing. I think it's a DreamWorks thing, or
yeah, the animated.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's DreamWorks. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like musicals are, and I know you're a music guy when it comes to movies.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if there's an uptick in musicals. I think that they've been sort of there all along. I think that there's been this audience that's really been jazzed about musicals for quite some time. I mean, you think back into like the 20s, 30s, and 40s of New York, where bigger was better. Glitz was all the rage. To have musicals that push the edge of building huge monstrosities on stage, right, to try and attract an audience. The interesting thing that just happened the other day, and I gather this is only available in Toronto right now, but is the 4D experience for going to movies. And I gather this film, I don't know what, I'm assuming it's Cineplex, but who knows? But a theater in Toronto is playing Rogue One in 4D, which means the chairs move side to side, backwards and forwards. They vibrate. There's air jets in the headsets, so you can get hit with air. There's a row of water misters that spray into your face. There's a lot of apparently the smoke can fill the auditorium fairly quickly, which sorry?
Sounds intense.
Well, I don't know. I think it is supposed to be intense, but
sounds annoying.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with this, where there is definitely an annoying component for it. Here's the thing. Back in like what year was it? I will say it was 2004. Actually, let me look this up. When did Shrek come out? The first Shrek film. Shrek came out in 2001. So Shrek came out. John Lithgow was the Farquhar villain. But here's what I'm thinking of, is that there was this thing that we went and saw called Shrek the something or other. Damn, it's not in his list that easy to find. In his filmography here. But essentially what it was a continuation of the first Shrek film called Shrek 4D, The Revenge of Farquhar or something. So the whole idea was that the Shrek film had ended, the happily ever after had happened, but then the villain comes back, a week later and tries to avenge his death or whatever, because he was a spirit or a ghost in this thing. Mm-hmm. Now, Shrek 4D was at, I think, Universal Studios. I think, I don't remember, but anyway, so we went to this thing. And it was called the 4D Adventure, which essentially is the exact same technology that this place in Toronto is installed, where everything moves, everything vibrates, air hits you, and there's these things called the ticklers, which are in this thing where that's either done with air or it's an actual rotating thing with a very sort of small string or like some sort of plastic thing that taps the back of your legs kind of thing. So, oh my God, there's rats in the movie. And suddenly you're getting all these tickles on your feet, right? Or on your legs. So I don't know. I'm kind of with Alan on this. I find it really annoying. I don't think, and this is all in 3D, of course. You have the 3D going on. You have all this other stuff hitting you in the face. I'm not sure if that's what film is for. I don't think that is the experience. I think, and the reason I'm thinking about this is I think that's what musicals and going to live theater are for. you might not be sitting in vibrating chairs or having air or water splashed in your face, or citrus being squirted into the thing to give you your senses to whatever. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of ridiculous that we've kind of gone to this sort of way of trying to create experiences for people for film. I just think that there's other mediums like live theater that sort of fill that role. I don't know. I'm really not. I probably wouldn't go. I might do it once for a film I didn't care about. But of course, I've seen Rogue One twice now, and I really enjoy it. So, which, by the way, the actor William Sadler, in my research here for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3, which started this whole conversation, wants to return as the Grim Reaper. So
cool.
There you go.
Hey, did you know he was in Die Hard 2?
He was the villain in Die Hard 2. I just watched a video called Everything Wrong with Die Hard 2, which made some very, very practical points.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could drive a truck through it, but that's not really the point. Hey, that link that you sent for the Bill and Ted's Excellent thing, there was a link to the billandted.org with their merchandise section. And apparently there was a line of toys that came out after Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Did you know this?
Well, I know they had the comic, the animated series, which I saw once.
There was like a whole line of Kenner action figures.
Really?
With Genghis Khan and Billy the Kid and Abraham Lincoln. There was even a telephone booth. But what I've found really cool, there was like a whole bunch of vehicles that you could get with them, including like a boom truck with a portable sound stage. There was something here that looks like it was like He-Man's castle that was rebranded as being something that that was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They're on like some sort of twin motorcycle thing. But the one that strikes me the most is there is one. It's called a talking cruiser, and it is Kit from Knight Rider. It talks, but it's been repainted to be branded for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Wow.
So this is Kit from Knight Rider, and it's obviously Kit from Knight Rider, and it's just not painted black anymore. It's painted white and blue and pink and stuff, and it's got Keanu Reeves driving it. Fox. It probably even says, I don't know, Michael. Should we press a turbo boost?
I gotta say that wow. On that note, boys and girls, we've been going for quite a while now. So that's all the stories we have to talk about this week, and we also we're really getting into the barley wines of late, so our shows are going to get very interesting as time goes on. So who knows? Anything else, boys?
No,
not me.
We have recovered from the holidays. We have returned from the future. Apparently, Crispin Glover is still kicking.
Crispin Glover is still kicking.
I watched an interview with him the other day about how he, the whole Back to the Future 2 thing. But anyway, so yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to spread the word about the show. Subscribe and do all those things that people ask you to do at the end of all these types of videos. Follow us on Twitter. And also, if you have beer suggestions for us, if you think there's a beer out there that we have not yet consumed, let us know. Hopefully it'll be good.
For part 2 of this episode in about a year.
Exactly. So next January, we will unbottle and uncork the barley wines that we have bought, and we will hopefully like them as much as Thors Hammer. Bye, everybody.